Hello, this is my 1972 Triumph Stag, affectionately known as Jenny. She has been owned by me for 19 years now, and 3 or 4 years ago I decided to start a gentle restoration. Unfortunately, this got a bit carried away, as you can see. Both the front wings and the front panels of the car were quite badly corroded, so I decided to take these off and replace them with new panels, of which I bought both new wings, I think from E.J. Ward's at the time, front of bonnet panel. The headlamp panel that you see there is not the original one, but is one that I salvaged from a scrap Triumph Stag. It's in quite good condition, as is the front valance, which came from the same vehicle. Both of these two parts were media blasted and have had a coat of primer on them to stop them from rusting. The rest of the vehicle was also media blasted in the same way, but currently is sitting in just the bare metal, so there's no primer being applied. Luckily the shell sits in a rather nice heated workshop and has sat like this for several years now, about 3 years I think. So it's still in reasonably good surface finish. Obviously, quite a lot of work needs to be done before the new panels can be replaced onto the vehicle. Let's start at the front end. So obviously the inner arch on the front left-hand side is corroded at its edge. It's obviously been repaired by some previous owner, so that will obviously need tidying up. The front panels of the vehicle are showing some signs of corrosion. I'm not sure whether these are available as replacements or whether or not in reality they could be patched up. The other side is obviously a similar story, with extra bits of metal being welded in by previous owners. Again, the inner arch will require repairs at least to its lip edge. The inner wings and bulkhead and other inner wing are in reasonable condition. The windscreen frame is quite reasonable. It has had some evidence of some repairs, some of which I've done and some of which are previous owner repairs. The door aperture on the right hand side is in reasonable condition. A repair has been effected in front of the rear wheel arch, and the rear wheel arch itself obviously needs some element of repair. Most of the inner arch is in fact in reasonable condition. Evidence of some previous repairs present. And working down the left hand side, again the door aperture is reasonable, has had some welding already. The base of the windscreen A-pillar requires some finishing off. The inner edge of the windscreen is perforated with some holes in places. The left-hand rear arch appears to have survived in better condition, although is not absolutely perfect. The boot floor is generally quite sound. Obviously some perforations towards the edges. And in the corners where it meets perhaps what you might call the rear bulkhead. Inside the vehicle, obviously been some repairs to the floors in the past, various MOT bodges I suspect to get it through an MOT here and there, so there's a few patches. The tunnel section looks quite good. The inner sills look reasonable. The bottom of the A posts have had some repairs as well. Passenger side is a similar story with some repairs to the front footwells, and again where the floor meets the inner sill, a couple of small perforations is there as well. Around the rear wheel arches there's evidence of some previous repairs that we saw on the inside of the wheel arch. The damper tops have been repaired or reinforced, and a bit of holes, perforations around where the seam sealer would have been to join the inner wheel arches to the rear floor sections. So also not shown at the moment is I have the bonnet, which is in reasonable condition, the boot lid, which is in really quite good condition, and the two doors, both of which I suspect will need reskinning. There's one new skin in the pile of new panels, which I think came from EJ Ward's, and the skin for the left-hand door has yet to be purchased. Probably the doors will require a little bit of repair on the bottom edges as well. The door frames would require repair. I do also have a hard top which I bought separately, came off another car. It's in a different body colour. At some point I'd want to restore that, but obviously that's a relatively low priority. And this is what I'd really like it to look like. This is a photograph in the bottom right of a picture taken before I got my hands on it, and the main image is a computer generated image.